Hello, everybody. My name is Aldous, and you are here for the practical artificial intelligence meetup, right? So this is our first meetup, and it's actually our last meetup this year, but it's the most important one. You want to know why? Again? Come again? You said something? Of course. Ah, of course. Okay, I said, do you want to know? Oh, you do want to know why. Great. So I'll tell you. Some doesn't seem to work. Yeah, this one does. Before we start, I want to thank our sponsors. We already have three of them, and the University of Art, Code Academy, and LinkedIn, all of them provide us with like a lot of value. So thanks for them. Now let's talk about what we're gonna do today. So our agenda is first we're gonna talk about what we accomplished since our last meetup. Then I'm gonna do a presentation, 11 things everybody must know about deep learning. Then we're gonna talk about what I think is the most important thing for this meetup is Business School of AI vision for 2019. And finally, we're gonna talk about workshops. Since I see a lot of familiar faces here, I know a lot of you are actually in the workshops. So this part is going to be for those who want to join the new sessions of the School of AI workshop. Okay, it's not then. I mean, if you are already doing the workshop, there's not going to be like new information here for you. Okay. So first of all, a lot of people ask, why am I doing that? That's like every single meetup, everybody. So some people like ask me why I'm doing that. And believe it or not, for me, artificial intelligence is like a thing of life and death. If you have been to my presentation about the superintelligence, you know that I believe that we actually have to be in a hurry to understand the artificial intelligence, how to solve the control problem, and basically, in my own way, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my own army, people who are smart and who are dedicated and who are willing to learn and who are willing to be the ones to figure out the way to actually solve this problem. But that's the high goal. What also I want to talk about in what we accomplished is, so what can we do better for you? I know that a lot of you are very interested in the workshops because I get a lot of questions about that, but maybe we should be doing something else. So that's what I'm asking you to do now is give us feedback. What should be accomplished like during this like let's call it sprint during this month until our next meetup. So what we accomplished, first of all, we got some funding and sponsors. It's not yet 100% confirmed, but I have like a few leads, and hopefully next time we'll be here like with more pizzas and more soft drinks and more beers. So that's my like small goal for the meetup. For workshops, I'm working on getting a deal on like AWS servers so everybody can access like better resources. And I'll talk about like the first thing a little bit later. Also, as always, we're like last time we had our first international speaker, and I kind of like it this way that the person who's like deeply knowledgeable in like his field did the presentation. So I like to keep it this way and invite only people who are like experts in their domain, but can also explain things for like regular, like non-technical people to understand. That's just actually the goal of Business School of AI, to make it accessible for everybody. So I continue to look for speakers. And now let's move to the presentation. 11 things everybody must know about deep learning. So as most of you probably know, you read a lot of articles and you see like, oh, so artificial intelligence now can do this thing, or artificial intelligence beat humans in like this field. It's kind of like once a week thing now, but usually, like, or maybe 90% of the time, when you see this headline, it means deep learning can beat humans in this thing, or deep learning can do this thing for the first time. So deep learning is the thing which like media calls artificial intelligence, and what engineers call machine learning. So it's kind of funny, and we're gonna talk about it. Also, I want to tell you like in advance that I am all about deep learning. That's like my specialty. And like I know it's not the answer for all the problems, but it's like by far the best thing which we have right now. And like finally, if you haven't been to like my presentation, it's not going to be like a full presentation. It's always is a discussion. So be active. I'm going to ask questions, and like weirdly, I'm going to expect you to answer these questions. Okay, so don't be surprised. Like I'm just warning you in advance, so I might wait like 5 minutes until somebody answers. Okay, so let's start. Are you ready? Yes, mostly yes. I'm going to take it here. The first question, what is the difference between deep learning, machine learning, and artificial intelligence? And this one is for you. Can you tell me? I mean, you give your best try. And
I can tell about intelligence.
yes, go.
So it's something which is expressed by machine. So it is based on machine learning, and if you see that machine, I mean, self-driving cars, for example, it shows some kind of intelligence. That means artificial intelligence.
Very good. Like, actually, you are almost right, because you said, like you just mentioned, that it has to be based on machine learning. Does it have to be based on machine learning? Not really, because like remember the old chess programs, they learned nothing. They played like deterministically or like I mean stochastically, but they're never learning from their opponents. Even the one that Deep Blue, which beat like Gary Kasparov, it wasn't machine learning. It was just pure coding. But it's still artificial intelligence. It's smarter than all humans and chess. All right, that was a good try. Then if somebody wants to do like an amazing try, all right, I'll give it a shot, man. So I made a drafting. So first of all, artificial intelligence is actually an ancient field in computer science, as we term. First, it started in 1956. Okay, so before machine learning and deep learning, obviously, and it takes like it's like all surrounding field. It has some parts in computer science. It has some parts in like whatever science you name. Basically, it has some artificial intelligence in it. Okay, so machine learning is like a subset of this bigger artificial intelligence pie, and this one is the real breakthrough in my opinion. This one deals with machines which are learning, obviously, and like you might not be thinking that that's like a groundbreaking idea, but when you think about it, it's like ultimately that's what we are trying to achieve. That's like we want that machine to be like learning to do new stuff without being like explicitly programmed to do this thing. Okay? And that's how humans learn, that's how animals learn, that's how basically every single thing from like bacteria to like elephants do that. Except for machines, they have to be programmed up until 1959 when machine learning was born. And finally, deep learning, right? So deep learning started in like 19, at least the term was on 1986, but it didn't really take off until like probably 5 years ago. Then the first thing was the AlexNet beat the ImageNet competition, and that's when deep learning actually started to be like this force, the hotspot in this fight. I mean, if you look at this like big fight of artificial intelligence, remember what they said in the beginning? Like whatever happens, it happens due to the small center of deep learning. Second question, so what are the branches of deep learning? That's also for you. Good try. So we obviously can like classify into like a lot of different areas. What I initially had in mind is we're gonna talk about computer vision a bit later, but like what I had in mind is we have this classification for the machine learning. So deep learning has the same categories. And do you know these like classes or branches or whatever they are called?
Supervised, unsupervised,
Very good. You still missed one.
reinforcement.
Yes, we have a full set. Reinforcement learning, supervised and unsupervised learning. Uh, let's see the correct answer now. So on supervised learning, so what do you guys like reckon? Which one is obviously like semi-supervised learning, I also needed to put this one in. Which one do you think is the most important? Or no, not the most important, mostly used right now. Yes, very good. Actually, probably like regression or classification, not sure, because a lot of classification problems have like regression now, as for example, object location or like object detection in an image. To draw the bounding box, you have to do regression. But to tell what's in the bounding box, that's classification. So they are like very mixed together, at least nowadays. Then we have the semi-supervised learning, which is like very weird. It's actually supervised learning, but we didn't have the labels, so we kind of made them up. Like let's take an unsupervised data set and let's invent the labels. So that's basically what the semi-supervised learning is. Then the unsupervised learning is like much less popular because you cannot really do a lot with like deep learning and unsupervised learning. There are some things, but they're like much less common than in like normal machine learning. So it's not that big. What's really up and coming is the reinforcement learning. So all the agents which play games, I noticed that some of you were talking about like this Dota 2, like OpenAI 5, like team, which made a model which beat actually the best non-professional or I think semi-professional Dota 2 players. So that's amazing. I mean, I read the paper and I still couldn't understand everything, but I understood that they made like really insane, thrown in really insane computing power, and we got like insanely good results. So that's reinforcement learning. One of the things which I actually am looking to like dive more deeply into and very exciting for for going to this like general artificial intelligence route. Question number three. This one is easy. wants to take a guess? Very good. Two of the four correct answers. We still have two answers missing. Very good. Three of my four. Good guesses. I actually excluded, those are definitely legitimately popular libraries, but I wanted to make a symmetry between the first two and the last two. I have something there. That's more of a machine learning. One is like missing. It's like I guess a niche one. It's not the major one. So I just included that. It's actually FastAI. So the correct answer was FastAI. And I included that to keep it symmetry. So first, let's start with the TensorFlow. It's like by far nowadays most popular library. Okay, probably nobody is going to like argue that this one is the most biggest, most important, mostly used. The fun thing about TensorFlow is like nobody actually uses that, right? So everybody uses Keras. I never met, probably never met somebody who was doing deep learning and was only using TensorFlow without any Keras input. It was like, I mean, I tried, at some point, I tried to replicate the same code, which was on Keras to do the same stuff on TensorFlow. And it was like maybe like 6 times more lines of code, because to do everything, you have to like basically rebuild your own library. Keras is amazing. I mean, the API of Keras is amazing. And you know who else thinks that? The TensorFlow guys. So what we did is we kind of admitted defeat, and we said, okay, so everybody uses Keras no matter what. So we know what we're gonna do. We're gonna like hire the guy who built Keras, and then we're gonna put Keras inside TensorFlow. And we have the current structure. This is not a timeline. This is actually what we have right now. We have TensorFlow, and we have Keras on top of that. And we also have TensorFlow and Keras inside that. And these things exist at the same time. So what we did is actually we hired the guy had the task to like put your library inside TensorFlow. But if nothing is broken, like it can work outside of TensorFlow, why should I do that? We just put it inside. And that's basically what happened. So now TensorFlow has its own Keras called like TF Keras inside it. And it works basically identically to the normal Keras. There is some divergence, which started like a few months ago, but 95% of the time you can import one or the other, and there's going to be no difference. So which one should you use? I would say since like TensorFlow currently is the only backend, like the only legitimate backend for Keras, so you have to install one package less if you use the Keras, which is inside TensorFlow, and that's what I'm doing. Now let's get back to PyTorch. And PyTorch, in my opinion, is much simpler than TensorFlow in every way. I haven't built any production systems with PyTorch, but I'm continuing to learn it. And from what I learned, I really like it. I also really like that it has FastAI, which is like what Keras is for TensorFlow, so FastAI is the same thing for PyTorch. It's missing a higher level library. It's the library which you actually want to use instead of writing your own, for example, to write a shitty trainer, like a quite bad trainer which does not have like half of the functionality which you want, you have to write like 100 or 150 lines of code. And that's like every time. Every time you do a model, you have to write the same 150 lines. Or obviously you can copy and paste them with things like do like some kind of like refactoring for them not to be like not to break every time and stuff like that. So that's what FastAI does for you. It brings the best practices on top of FastAI or on top of PyTorch. So also very recommended. Question number 4. So why are we using deep learning? I mean, machine learning was doing okay. So what's so special about deep learning? Okay, I'll give you again. Machine learning sucks at some tasks. It can do some sort of problems very well, but then if you give it something like the thing, it kind of does not know what to do.
Picture recognition.
Very good. One of the 4 correct answers. Second of the 4. 2 out of 4 now. 2 more. Like one is very similar to picture.
Voice recognition.
Voice, I actually include voice and text as natural language processing, all under the same category.
Then video.
Yes, video. Very good. Video is like audio plus images and time series. So that's very interesting, and also deep learning picks that in this area. One final thing, why do we have reinforcement learning? Yes, games. That's basically what I just put games. So we have video, images. I basically shouldn't be doing this presentation. You know all of them correct answers. So video obviously is like images plus audio in time. Okay, so let's start with images. Machine learning could do images. It did it in a very like fragile way. You have to build these kernels, which there is basically some smart people came up with like this their like matrix of numbers, and it kind of multiplied all the images, all the like pixels of the image by this kernel. So what happened is kind of one kernel was for detecting horizontal edges, one kernel was for detecting vertical edges, one kernel was for detecting like whiskers of the cat, one kernel was for detecting like triangles, hair, and like we had millions of those kernels. They had names, and it was a mess. Like you had to basically, for every problem, you had to invent your own kernel and maybe publish a paper if you wanted this kernel named after you. Now we have deep learning, which happens automatically. Nobody obviously names their kernels because they learn from the data, and they learn so much better than the human-made kernel. Okay, so that's how like computer vision started. Then we came up with a lot of, since we didn't have to spend so much time on like learning the kernels, we had to spend like we could spend so much more time on architectures, on how to make them like deeper, stuff like that. So that's how we solved image. The second step was to solve natural language processing, which is like still not ideal as things stand right now, but we have these reinforcement, recurrent neural networks, which kind of is a sequence of like this neural network, which is like in a for loop. It goes as many times as needed, as long as your text is, and it kind of applies these like matrix multiplications, and this is how it learns the weight of like of your text. Uh, Google recently, oh, it wasn't Google, but like people started using these convolutional neural networks also for natural language processing tasks, and now it's kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes the recurrent neural networks work better, sometimes the convolutional neural networks work better. Finally, we have games, which was also always the domain of the reinforcement learning, which is actually quite far away from it. Like if you have unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, supervised learning, they are quite close to each other. So in my opinion, like that reinforcement learning is quite far away, because we have like a lot of concepts there. We have agents, environment, rewards, stuff like that. And the actual deep learning part is like, it's kind of only a part of the whole infrastructure. So basically, all these categories are grouped into what's called unstructured data. Like we have structured data, which is like you can imagine an Excel sheet or whatever, a table, if you're using something like smarter. But then if you have unstructured data, images, text, like natural language, voice, audio, video, so that's where deep learning really shines. The next question is, so what are the most important types of neural networks? Actually named all of them in the last minute. It's not very hard. Yes, actually you're right. Feedforward is one of the three correct ones. Yes, 2 out of 3. Recurrent neural networks. That's the second correct answer. We are missing the most important one. Yeah. Yes, very good. So actually 3 out of 3. Amazing result. So feedforward, that's the classic neural network. That's what you see in every single tutorial on like the MNIST data set, which is like not the correct neural network to use for the data set, but everybody teaches it anyway. I never figure out like why would you do that? Why would you show like a person how to drive a tractor if he wants to like drive 2,000 kilometers? But like everybody shows the classical neural network in maybe thinking that it's easier. For me, it wasn't easier. Actually, convolutional neural network for me was the easiest one, and then feedforward, then the recurrent neural networks, which are like legitimately quite hard to understand. They are like the for loop in a network that like requires a bit of a mental leap. So what do we do? So feedforward is like a simple chain matrix multiplication. You have like matrix, you multiply it by another matrix, and then you apply an activation function. Basically, like 90% of the time, activation function just means make all the negative numbers 0. That's what activation function is. And so that's it. Basically, multiply the matrices, remove all negative numbers, make them 0. And do that again and again and again, and you get like magical results. It's, you would think that's like an Apple product because it's like, looks like magic. Then you have convolutional neural networks, which in my opinion is like really simple concept. You just take this matrix and you multiply it like step by step with all the pixels of an image or all the like sequence of an audio stream. And finally, you have the recurrent neural networks, which, like, surprisingly, in the beginning, they didn't work at all. Then some smart people, like, came up with this LSTM model, which, like, made a track for the grade. Like, that's technical, but we just came up with this single, like, let's not forget what we learned in the first step. And that was the idea under the LSTM, which solved all the problems. I mean, it's funny, it's not even funny how easy it is, like, it's how easy these ideas look like. I mean, some guy just, oh, look, let's not forget what we learned in the first step. And wow, groundbreaking results, everybody learns about it in, like, before the next 10 years. Did you hear that? Yeah. Okay, that's it. Next step, activation function. So, I mentioned one activation function, I didn't say the name, but I told what it does. So, your guess now. Yes, very good. 3 out of 4 immediately. So the first one, which just removes all the zeros, is called, all the negative numbers and makes them zeros, is called ReLU. yes, hyperbolic tangent, the last one. It's actually quite similar to sigmoid, and they are ordered by importance. So the most important one is ReLU, or like some alternative of ReLU, like it's very minor improvement. Basically, what you have to understand about ReLU is that it's insanely simple. Like I cannot stress that enough how simple it is, and usually like how people make like some myth around it, like wow, this is the ReLU. You're not advanced enough to learn about it yet. Right? Wait, like solve some like math problems for like 6 months, then you will be able to handle the ReLU. While in reality, it's just like take negative numbers, replace with zeros. That's like two-step process, or I guess that's one step. So ReLU is insanely simple, but it's insanely useful. It's being used in like probably all of the neural networks, like all of the Binning neural network architectures. And it might sound, oh, if it's so simple, can it be this good? But somehow it is. Somehow it's like the dominant one, the one which 90% of neural networks are using. Then we have softmax. And this is for multi-class classification problems. You have to basically tell the probability of which class it is, and you have like, for example, 10 digits, and you want to get probability which digit it is. So what you do is you get like 10 numbers, then you apply the softmax activation function on it, and lo and behold, you get the probability. Basically, get the probabilities from just regular numbers. That's softmax. Finally, sigmoid. Sigmoid is like a simpler version of softmax. It's when you just have two classes and you have to get like not 10 or not 5 probabilities, but just two. So you do a sigmoid. If you have like a binary classification problem, softmax and sigmoid is actually the same thing. I mean, it's not like exactly the same thing as it works in the software, but in like math terms, it's the same thing. Finally, TANH. This one is still used in like recurrent neural networks, usually LSTMs and GRUs. Uh, I haven't tested, there are some versions with like ReLUs on these LSTMs, but for the reason, because it's like in a for loop, it can grow very, very like high because the upper bound is like unbounded. So you multiply like 4 by 4 by 4 by 4 again, and you get a very high number. So what the TANH does, it actually flaps, like the upper limit is 1, the lower limit is like -1. So it kind of squeezes all the numbers into this, 1 and -1, like range. And that's it. All of them, as you can see, all of them are like super simple, like 5 grade math. Question number 7. Uh, this one is like which I couldn't answer like maybe 5 months ago myself, but I can now, so I put it here. So basically, it's like why can't you stack a lot of shallow neural networks one on top of each other and train the first one, then train the second one, train the third one. You'll get the same thing as the deep neural network, right? Or no, it's a bit tricky one. So maybe nobody wants to do this. You want to do it. Yeah, so the gradient, that's good insight, but it's not the diminishing gradient or vanishing gradient. It's something else. Like this is connected to the gradient. I'll basically make it just earlier. Oh, sorry. So basically, visually they are identical, but they train differently because if you do like one network at a time, one layer at a time, what you get is you get a greedy result. So this first layer only cares about its problem. It doesn't care about the correct classification. It just solves its like gradient in a way that is best for this layer. Then the next one only cares about itself. They never work together to make the actual end result better. And that's what the deep learning, that's what deep neural networks do, is they care about the actual result and go from the result to the very, very start of the neural network onto the inputs, and they change and everything in between to work together. So basically, human cooperation, so that's layer cooperation. The next one is, so what's deep in the deep neural network, and how deep can we go? How many layers is too deep? You can guess. Okay, good guess. So 4 years ago, Ventilayers was considered very deep. VGG19 was considered to be VGG19 basically means 19 layers, which was considered to be very deep. At some point, 3 layers were considered to be, no, 3 layers were deep, and like 5 layers were very deep. Then 19 layers were very deep. Now it changed. Now it's more, like 4 layers.
I mean, first it can go up to 40 or 30, like 30 something, or maybe like, based on how many moves in the future it takes.
So about 50, right?
Yeah.
Even more.
Mhm.
Even more, the correct answer is even more. Very good guess, actually, because ResNet Inception V2 is 152 layers. I guess where you get your numbers. But like we had like these revolutions or like evolutions in deep learning, which like redefined what deep is. So the first one was batch normalization. And again, it was known for like millions of years how to do batch normalization. Machine learning guys were doing batch normalization all the time, but then deep learning didn't figure out that, oh, we can do batch normalization after every layer. For some reason, it didn't just, the light bulb didn't go light lit up. But then somebody said, oh, why not use this? And suddenly, from like 19 layers, we can train up to like maybe, the 19 layers, they're pretty shitty like initially, but with batch normalization, we can train up to like 30 layers. Pretty reasonably. But we cannot train like 100 or 150. So then Microsoft came up with this like ResNet architecture, which basically said, oh, we have been doing this like LSTM stuff for like 20 years. What if we use the same idea for the convolutional neural network? And it was like insane success. Like they put this track, remember I told you about, let's not forget what we learned in the first layer. So we put exactly the same idea. Like let's keep the separate path for the gradient to move. And they did this track, we did this like skipping up until the end, and now we can basically train as deep neural networks as we want. We can like my opinion is if we have like hardware enough and if we care enough about the like precision, we can go to thousands of layers. But there's nothing to stop us. Like if you repeat the same blocks, repeat the same track from the beginning to the end of the gradient, and you have like insanely powerful supercomputer, you can do thousands of layers. So
What about overtraining that?
it's a very complex topic. I don't want to talk about it. No, that's the major. Well, you got the major problem in deep learning is overfitting, what's called. And basically 50% of the deep learning is dealing with overfitting. So we don't have time for that, right? I'm so sorry. But we can talk about how to train your network. And by saying how to train a network is what hardware to use. Do you have any ideas how, like, and what by hardware I mean, is your laptop good enough to do deep learning?
Depends.
Not the best.
Very good.
Depends on your task.
Uh-huh. But let's,
Sometimes you need GPU, sometimes CPU.
very good. So again, all the correct answers are here. So first of all, like deep learning, like one of the things which was preventing deep learning from taking off is the limitations of the CPU. CPU works in a sequential way. That means it does one thing, then it does the second thing, then it does the third thing. If you have a multi-core CPU, it can do like 8 things at a time. If you have a GPU, it can do thousands of things at the same time. And it just so happened that this guy, like the CEO of NVIDIA, was very smart man, a visionary, and he said, oh, let's get ready when the technology catches up. And I mean, when the like math catches up and everybody wants to use our GPUs for deep learning or like calculation, and let's build, like pre-build the stuff for them. So like or actually it happened at the same time, like he noticed that people like, might want to use that, and he invested heavily in it. So now we are kind of forced to buy the NVIDIA GPUs because only they have the like software to support deep learning. AMD is trying to catch up, Intel is trying to catch up, but as things are right now, NVIDIA GPUs are the thing which does deep learning. Like basically lucky that crypto mining is on the decline, so you can buy a lot of cheap GPUs. Lucky. Google, on the other way, said, you know what? Like, if you are going to do deep learning and only deep learning, let's make a thing which is like even more GPU than the GPU. So it out GPUs the GPUs. And they build a GPU. So GPU does one thing and one thing only. It trains neural networks. So it can be very efficient and it can be very fast at the same time because it's purpose built for just this one task. They are not very stable yet. The software is not yet very friendly to the GPUs, but I see it coming in the next like 6 months. So keep your eyes open. And so obviously, if you want to train like your neural network right now, your best bet is probably if you don't have a gaming rig at home or you don't have a crypto mining rig at home, like go to like some cloud provider. I didn't name them because there are like lots of them, and try to find the cheapest cheapest teraflop per dollar or something. And all of them work fine. One free one, which gives you a GPU for free, is called Google Colab. It's by Google. It's all integrated environment. It's most of the required packages and stuff like that. So I can really recommend this one. Question number 10. So almost the last one. I don't want you to answer this one. I'll just give you a very short introduction. How would you train? How would you solve an image classification problem? So first, I would get the data. Because you have to get the data to start doing one deep learning. Then you have to obviously analyze the data. So nothing new. The same as machine learning, you have to know what you're dealing with. More specifically, deep learning really likes things which really like images which are spare because that's how GPUs work. They want things to be fixed in size. So usually what it means you have to rescale them. Also, you don't use like regular sized images or even HD images or even like standard definition images. Usually people use something around like 300 pixels, like height and width, or a lot of the times even smaller than that. Okay, so very, very small image, like 224 pixels is like one standard, 299 pixels is like another standard. So after you like analyze and resize your data, you get the pre-trained model. So nobody ever probably, or I think, okay, in like learning for purposes only, people train their own models from scratch. But usually for image classification, everybody reuses some pre-trained network. Okay, so you take what somebody like Microsoft or Google or some researchers built, you chop its head off, you put your own head on top of this model, and you reuse the like 95% of the work which was put into doing this for your own task. Surprisingly, it works extremely well. Even if the model was trained on like cats and dogs and cars, and you are training on like humans or chairs or dresses or like trucks, the things still magically work out fine. Then, once you train your own head, like this newly attached head, you kind of unfreeze the whole layer, make it whole, and train it as a whole. It still has, some like small cracks in it, or it has, if you have like some more different problem than it was trained on, so you have to adjust, but only do the final adjustment. So you always want to train from a like pre-trained network. After you do that, you get some kind of result. You don't stop there. You take another pre-trained network with a different architecture and try to repeat the same process on this network. Maybe this one works on your problem better. Uh, after you train like or try like 5 different architectures and you're bored and tired, you say, oh, like I think scientifically this one is the best solution. Then you basically test the model on your test data set. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, you actually always have to split your data into 3 parts. You have to have the training part, or train data, the validation part, and the test part. So the test part is like your actual data on which you're going to test the model, and you keep it a secret from yourself up until this point, up until you try like 5 different architectures, only then you test it on the test data set. If the test, if the test results and the validation results are very different or like meaningfully different for you, that means you failed. You leaked too much information into the validation data set, and you have to basically start over. So don't leak information into the validation data set. Finally, if everything goes fine and your training and your validation and test data sets are like results are similar, you put your model into production. First with like A/B testing. Finally, if you see that on the A/B testing you get like similar results as you got on like your previous model, if that's not your first model, or on the model which you did like on test data set, you are happy and you put it fully in production. So that's how you would do like from A to Z image classification problem. Finally, this one is like my favorite. So what's the best way to learn about the deep learning? And I have some examples which like might be interesting for you. First of all, I would say books. There are 4 books which I really like, and the first one is like by far my favorite, is by the author of Keras, Deep Learning with Python. Those slides are gonna be on the internet, so don't worry if you don't take a picture, but whatever. The second one is the fundamentals of deep learning. So this one doesn't use Keras, it just uses pure TensorFlow, and it's still an amazing book. Very insightful, you can learn a lot from it. Coding examples, on the other hand, tend to be like 3 pages long. I wonder, like, if he did the same thing in Keras, it would be like half a page. But like so much boilerplate. Also, or not after, but meanwhile, while you're reading books, you can do online courses. So my three favorite ones, or I guess two favorite ones, is the Deep Learning AI course on Coursera. It's called Deep Learning Specialization on Coursera, or you can just go on deeplearning.ai website. The second one is Fast AI. So Fast AI is both a library and a course, and both of them are amazing. The library is amazing and the course is amazing. And this guy Jeremy, he's also like, I really like how he approaches like learning. He starts from the top and then goes deeper into the details later. Once you see the proof that the things work. Finally, Udacity nanodegrees. So Udacity, kind of this guy Sebastian, he directed Udacity to fully go into deep learning and artificial intelligence, and now we have like probably the largest amount of deep learning courses on the internet. Finally, we have two new things. So we have Business School of AI workshops, and we also have artificial intelligence and deep learning bootcamp. I'm going to talk about it like really soon, about workshops and bootcamp. But before we do that, let's do a quick Q&A session on the 11 things. So your questions now. No questions? You asked everything. Right. Yes.
Could you tell about practical examples of the usage of deep learning?
All right. Very good question. So basically, all of the deep learning is practical. One example would be to do the image classification. You can, like computers, a lot of the time want to decide what is this thing? Like I'm pointing a camera at something, what's this thing? Another example would be like face unlock. Like if you want the computer to understand that this is your face and not somebody else. Another example would be to like draw a bounding box around like people, let's say for self-driving cars. You want it to detect people and correctly identify this is a person, not a road, don't drive on it. So some examples. Right? So one more question. I guess we can, I spent so much time on the presentation, so we can do the questions on the after party session. Let's move to the vision for 2019. So first of all, I really expect the Business School of AI to grow a lot in 2019. And like this year, it all started as, a project. I never expected to see so many people here. Obviously, we didn't expect to see so many people today, because I had to like rebook and retake like all of the shares we could find today, but still it wasn't enough. So I'm so happy that so many of you are here, and I really want to push. I really wanted to be at the next level, to be more scalable, and to be more professional, and all the things which are like expected of a legitimate learning institution. So first of all, we have like another artificial intelligence group in Vilnius, and we're gonna cooperate with them so much better this year. At least well, that's what we decided. We are having a meeting this week, and basically what that means is like we're gonna funnel people who don't know, who are not working in deep learning or machine learning right now, but who want to learn the field. And we're gonna funnel people who are like more advanced, who have like finished some like workshop courses and want to know more about deep learning to their meetups. I can vouch. I personally try to go to every meetup of this artificial intelligence group. Because They have a lot of industry experts and they make really like good quality presentations. So the second thing is I want to make the Windows AI official. I don't have yet defined what official means, but I want to start with like let's make some diplomas. If you finish our workshops, you should be getting a diploma. You should maybe we should like incorporate and have like some financing from the government and stuff like that. Or even like right now dealing with sponsors is kind of problematic because like they say that cannot you cash like your like let's take some cash and put our logo. So that's like weird. That's not how things are being done. So I have to really think about how to solve these administrative issues on like being legal, paying taxes or whatever, like even accepting donations from like you or sponsors. So for that, I'm actually going to need volunteers. So if you want to help for us to become more official, do more for yourself, and you have time and capacity to do that. So let me know after the meetup. We'll try to work something out. Okay. Uh, so the penultimate thing is really want like that's my personal thing. I really want to organize this artificial intelligence retreat or conference where we do like basically 50% holiday, basically artificial like 50% artificial intelligence like this conference where we go to like an exotic country, like select a group of people who are very passionate about artificial intelligence or deep learning. We go to like this exotic location, we have holidays, but at the same time we spend it like immersed into this futuristic thinking, artificial intelligence kind of environment. So also if you're interested, if you want to be part of this group, let me know after the meetup. Finally, and like before I start, this thing is like not for everybody. Then I tell them about this thing. Like a lot of people are just outraged and like, how dare you? So basically, I want to do artificial intelligence bootcamp, and it's not the usual 2 month bootcamp, but it's like an 8 month long or 32-week long AI bootcamp. It's not as intense as usual boot camps. It's like after hours. So you spend 3 hours per day, every work day for 32 weeks. Uh, Days like basically doing artificial intelligence projects and learning artificial intelligence or deep learning on like with myself and like these again selected group of people. And after that, like after we insane 8 months, you will hear no man and no machine. Uh, Basically, we have like we are limited to 14 people, and we have to know Python and NumPy and Pandas, and ideally a little bit of machine learning. But this is the next level of the workshop. If the workshop is like level 1, you start with the workshop, you are good enough to be a junior machine learning developer. Okay? If you would be living in like Silicon Valley, after doing the workshop, that's enough. Google is gonna like grab you, Facebook is going to try to grab you. Every single like major startup wants artificial intelligence engineers. Unfortunately, we are here, so it's not that easy. Usually, if you want to join, like, how people do that is they either form their own startup, uh, like, so let's say some people, like 3 people know, like, machine learning, deep learning, they tested their knowledge on Kaggle, they say, okay, let's take some problem, let's apply artificial intelligence to that problem, and we form a startup. So startups is kind of a very good way, in my eyes, in Lithuania, to do a startup. If you don't want to do a startup for some reason, you're probably gonna want to join a company. If you join a company, you're gonna be there alone. Like most likely, there is not gonna be anybody else who is doing deep learning there. So you have to build your own team around yourself. You have to really be like you cannot be a junior anymore. You have to step into like at least middle level developer shoes, and that's what the boot camp is for. I want you to like if you are like barely a junior after workshop, so after the boot camp you're gonna be not a senior, but you're gonna be like you're gonna have the skills of a mid-level machine learning engineer. So that's my plan. Also, if you are interested about this boot camp, also let me know after the workshop, after the meetup. And now we have some like really fast Q&A about this one. I mean about the vision for 2019. Do you have any questions or comments?
Did you announce, or you gonna announce all the workshops that you're gonna do, or
Yes,
in the plan?
in a minute, like the last section is gonna be the workshops, it's coming in the next slide.
Good.
Yeah, so before we do workshops, let's talk about, do you like my vision for Visual School of AI? Can I get like a raise of hands who like my vision?
You're cool.
Very good, thank you, I agree. Who hates my vision? Who wants to do opposite of what I'm doing? Amazing. So, thank you. Before we do the workshops, I know that a lot of you like have some other obligations. So we have a 5-minute break. Those of you who are already in the workshops, like nothing new for you to see here. So you might wait for the listen up and wait for the after party, or like do this poll, or you might leave. So, and for those of you who are interested in workshops, please stay for all the info about the workshops. So 5-minute break now. Do the poll. So let's gather back. So the most important part we have. So the workshops were first introduced during our second meetup, and it was a huge success when we started. We got, I think, over 100 registrations. Yeah, 150 registrations. Since then, it was like, it had a second batch, and now we are working with, like, some people already graduated, like, 3 of the C classes already graduated. 2 of the D classes are on the brink of graduation. They are working on their final projects right now, and they are going to move to D class. And as always, a lot of like some people like it's kind of, I must tell you in advance, it's going to be like quite intensive. On the other hand, if you want to learn, this is not trivial. Artificial intelligence is like well paid and like respected field for a reason. You cannot do like half-ass for 2 hours a week and expect to learn it in like 5 weeks. You have to pay your, like, you have to spend time, and a lot of people really cannot handle this time, so we constantly have one person or like a few person drops out like every week, so we, at these intervals, we do this fulfillment. So this is going to be our third iteration, third session, and let me tell you all about what the workshops are. So first of all, the goals of the workshops is to make you an AI expert. Okay. So remember I talked that like the bootcamp, they want to make you like a mid-level developer or machine learning engineer. So workshops actually aim a little bit lower, but still, it's not like most courses online or offline, they give you the basics. I mean, you could never, ever, ever hope to do like job, like do that as your like career after doing like most courses. It's not nearly enough. So these AI workshops, like in the flow of AI workshops, they want to go from zero or from your like current level to being job ready. Okay, and that's what they call an AI expert. A person who can work as an AI engineer is, in my eyes, an AI expert. Obviously, you don't start with experience; you have to build this experience yourself. But that's up to you. So the principles. Uh, the main principle is that we do not create our own content. There is like there are a lot of sources on the internet to get free content, mainly Coursera, Udacity, and edX, and lots of online books. And if you pay like $10, you can access lots of Udemy materials. So combining these courses, making the full curriculum, that's the goal of the Vilnius School of AI. The second thing is we always like concentrate or we are always practice or practical oriented. We don't care, like, if you don't need math, we're not gonna teach you math. If you're not gonna need like advanced software engineering skills, we are not going to teach you advanced software engineering skills. There are so much many things to learn, so we concentrate on what's like absolutely necessary for you to be this machine learning engineer. Okay. Then we also want to maximize your success rate. By success rate, I mean that I want you to start doing the course, and I want as many of you to finish the course with the skills required for you to be this engineer. Okay. Finally, I really love Agile and Lean, and I try to incorporate these ideas into the learning process. I don't see a lot of people doing that yet, but so far it works like very well. And we have these, I'll talk about it like shortly, but we have like these weekly workshops where we meet, and then we do this whole agile or like Scrum retrospective, planning, grooming, and stuff like that. We also spend some time on like clarifying the things which were not clear during the sprint. Okay, so basically you have two options for practice. You can have like a regular practice or you can have remote practice. So the regular practice means that you're going to be grouped into squads and you will learn in a week-long sprint. You will receive and give support to your squad, like as an army, whatever squad, and you will have a lot of fun and you will have a good time. Then, if you choose a remote squad, then you will get access to the full curriculum. You will learn on your own pace versus the week-long squads. You will also receive and get support, but not to your squad members, but mainly to your class members, to other people who are working remotely. And finally, I hope that you will also have a great time. So it works like that. So the workshops go teach you practical AI skills. Time every Saturday. That's the regular squad. We meet in Suryatika 15. That's thanks to the Code Academy. They give us this free classroom, and we form a squad of up to 16 people. So it's like, I know that most of you have very different backgrounds and are at very different levels. So we have 5 different classes. So the D class is for people who like basically start from zero. There are no requirements except motivation. For the C class, you have to know computer programming, but you don't have to know Python. So your goal is to learn Python. In D class, you have to know Python, but you don't have to be a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. In A class, you have to be this machine learning engineer, where you're learning deep learning. And finally, the S class is where you actually do projects and where you become job ready. So this like everything up to S class is learning. S class is mostly practicing what we learn. Okay. Then let's start with the D class. And by the way, can we get like a really quick poll? Who of you don't know how to code, but would like to like first learn how to code in Python? Okay, so actually not that many. Usually it's half of the room. Okay, who of you are software engineers or computer programmers or software developers and don't know Python, who know a different language than Python? All right. Who of you are Python software engineers? Okay. Okay. Finally, who are already working with machine learning and doing machine learning models, but would like to learn deep learning. All right. A few of you. Very good. Finally, who here are experts and know everything about deep learning and just want to join the community and like do some casual competitions with their team or stuff like that. Very good. So we have classes for everybody, and like this new registration, I cannot promise 100% that you're going to like be accepted. Because every single iteration we have like fewer and fewer empty like the slots, but I believe that we can form 2 or 3 new slots. Okay, so it's probably going to be like D class, C class, and D class or A class. I'm not sure. Like you'll see from the turnout. So first of all, about the D class, since we have like a lot of people from D class, so you have to want to learn to code, want to learn to code with Python. Okay, basically no prerequisites except for motivation. You are expected to finish the D class, the D class in 12 weeks, and you will graduate directly into D class. So not into C class, but into D class. The C class is actually the same, like very similar to D class, but it's much faster. Basically, you'll do like similar curriculum, but since you know all the stuff, you know what a function is, what a variable is, what the for loop, and how programming works in general. So I noticed that you can actually do it like twice as fast. And not twice as fast, 3 times as fast, but everybody has to do projects to graduate from any class. The projects usually take 1 or 2 weeks, so it's actually just like 4 or 5 weeks of learning, and then 1 or 2 weeks of doing the project. Then we have a D class. It's that's the whole data science and machine learning class. So this one takes 22 weeks. There's lots of ground to cover, and you walk through like NumPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn, Matplotlib, and a lot of the things that you can do with all of them. A lot of them shallow machine learning models, stuff like that. I believe it's good to know the basics before you dive into deep learning, which is A class. In this A class, we are actually taking the two of the courses which I recommended, the Coursera course and the FastAI course, and we are also participating in our own like mini competitions, trying to create compete with each other doing these models. So that's the A class, learning deep learning. Finally, S class. So far we don't have any members in the S class, but it's actually to work on the deep learning or AI projects. Okay, so that if you want to join a start, like form your startup or form a Kaggle solving team or whatever else, like find co-workers, so that's the S class. S class basically means you are on like this side or this side of being job ready. Okay, so you probably started being barely job ready, and the more time you spend in S class, the more job ready you become. So the next session is going to launch in January, and all the information is going to be posted on Slack. So the link to our Slack, by the way, all the communication is via Slack or Facebook, but mostly Slack, because emails suck. Like really, believe me, it was like 2 or 3 times email really like Google really like punished me by marking my emails for some reason as this user has sent malicious emails to other users, and they all then directed to spam boxes. So I don't want like people not getting the critical info. So you have to do some steps for me beforehand. That means you have to join our Slack. But then once you're there, you'll get all the info. Like Slack is our like community, it's our like all the news flow, and we keep it tidy and clean. We don't like spam or do any bad stuff. So if you're on Slack, you'll get all the information. How to join the Slack? I'll post the link in both meetup.com and on facebook.com in the Facebook group. So that's your invitation to the Slack. Once you're on Slack, you'll get all the information in the general channel. Don't worry, you won't miss it. Even if you haven't used Slack before, it's pretty intuitive and easy to find. So yeah, that's basically it. Do you have any questions about the workshops?
Is it free of charge?
Yes. So everything in Vilnius School of AI is free of charge, except the boot camps is not going to be free of charge because that's just impossible. Yes.
How much time are we
Amazing question. Actually, I wanted to mention that. So the baseline is 10 hours a week, okay? And that's a lot. It sounds like not a lot, but then in reality, it turns out that 10 hours a week is a lot. On the other hand, if you really want to learn, like artificial intelligence, that's the minimum, which like this will do. I mean, otherwise, to do the full program from class B to class S, it will take like 2 years, if it's like less time. Yeah, so let me explain how exactly it's going to work. So on Saturday, we don't work. On Saturday, we just meet up with your squad. We spend 1 hour in a meeting. In this meeting, we do all the administrative stuff. I'll tell you what course to take. I'll tell you how many modules to do in each course. We'll solve some like technical problems. We talk about like your code questions, but we are not going to actually be doing like a lot of learning. You will be doing these 10 hours at home or with your squad, like in a library or somewhere else. Okay, is that clear? Very good. You had a question.
Well, you almost answered it. When is the meeting?
So each squad has its own like hour dedicated for the meeting. And if you once you get your squad like name, it will be something like D15. That means you are D class, which means at 3 p.m. Okay. So if it's C10, that means you are C class meeting at 10 a.m.
What does it mean as work completely from
Sorry, squad.
completely, like, for instance, that will be.
You will not be competing, you will be collaborating with other squads as, like, we already have like 5 D classes and the curriculum is kind of clear. So when you have some problems, when you don't understand something, you can ask, in the general D class forum, like D class channel, and say, hey guys, how have you solved this exercise? And then somebody who is maybe in A class right now, he says, oh, so we solved it this way. That like the instructor doesn't tell you, but you have to install this extra library. So it's the power of the community, power of the people who have already done this thing that you're doing. Yes.
Have you encountered anyone in the workshops who is also interested in information security? Because this is actually one of the fields where deep learning is really getting adopted.
I myself I'm not like by far an expert, but I would love to see more people interested in AI and security, because this is like absolutely important. And we really need people who understand deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and how to make stuff secure. Because let's not make the same mistake we made with like the internet again and making it completely open and secure and full of holes. While we are doing this artificial intelligence, like next step, let's make security like #1 thing from the very beginning. So I really like your like ideas.
Yeah, but that would be a little bit problematic, that my most interested friends are musical volunteers, so, our Saturdays usually just spent in a park.
Yeah, so what, I guess the question then is, what to do if you cannot attend a meeting on Saturday? So, we have remote classes, okay? Remote classes basically mean you get all the curriculum, like everything, like from sprint 1 to sprint like 22, and you do it on your own time. You can form into your own like remote squads, but for me, I just cannot manage that many people.
You can actually make a squad like a squad.
A proper, yeah, that's amazing, yeah. So, I actually have like, we can talk later, but, I know one guy who is also in AI and, security, also in like military stuff, I don't know to what extent, but, he's doing both. Then for others, like, I know we have like a lot of freelancers or people who have like fluid projects, like, they have two weeks which are insane, then we have like kind of easy week, then maybe a medium week. So for freelancers or with the very variable, like, maybe students with variable class structures, so I advise you to do remote class. Also, if you can spend like 5 hours a week, I also advise you to like apply to the remote class. Remote classes are 100 success rate. I mean, I admit everybody to remote classes because there's no time investment for me. So it's up to you how much you do, and you track your own progress. But if you're gonna join like regular classes, I'm going to like require not military level discipline, but close to that. Okay, no, I'm serious. We started with very like relaxed approach, but we switched to now be kind of strict approach. And if you don't like show up and don't tell anybody, 2 times you are basically kicked out of the normal squad. So I just want to say that don't feel bad that, oh, I started and he kicked me out, what's a bit bad. So if you cannot spend like 10 hours, I would advise immediately start with remote squad, remote class. Also, if you're from like a very far away city, like let's say Klaipėda, it's not maybe practical for you to travel. We have people traveling from Poland every Saturday, but I think that's as far as it goes. Any more questions?
Can we start from F class so can go to A? From the A?
Probably not, but because that's not gonna be like very practical, because S class is kind of you're required to already know what's in the A class. So, start from A class, then go to S class.
It's just like a question because when it comes to this my friend, what level is for us, D or B? It's just like I don't know actually.
Okay, so, how I suggest, if you have at least 6 months of professional programming experience in Python, then go to B class. If you don't have that, then go to C class. If you are students at a university, usually it's best to start at B class or C class. I mean, one or the other. Because we have like, I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that universities are bad, but I'm thinking that. Any more questions? Yes.
So let's just do remote course and do it on the low pace, and you can take it as many years as you want, yes?
Yeah.
Is it possible to get some kind of support, like from you, because if you have questions?
Absolutely. So yeah, all of you are going to be, so let me tell you about our main, like we have two main things. We have these meetings, which people really find valuable. And the second thing is our Slack community. So meetings is we all meet up, we spend this 1 hour totally immersed into this artificial intelligence kind of related mindset. Then we have our Slack. So on Slack, you have people, you basically have access to all the people who are doing or who have done before the class which you are doing right now. So you can ask in this dedicated channel, for example, E-class channel, you can ask, hey guys, I'm solving this like sprint number 8, and I'm having a problem with exercise number 7. And you have like 50 people who have done the same thing. So even as a remote student, I really try hard to keep you all integrated.
Would you switch from like normal step to remote? If you see that.
Yes, but like I advise against it because you kind of take up a spot which is somebody else is not getting. So if you like 90% that you won't be able to make it, so better start with remote. And then after, let's say you do the D class, go to the regular D class. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all the time we have today. Thank you all for coming. You have been great, and see you next year. Thank you.
Registracija truks kokias, na, tikrai sausio pirmą savaitę dar mėnesį laiko, tai nebijotume. Įskaitant online ar... Taip, visam. Ir iškart galiu pasakyti, jeigu registruojatės ir tenai galite skirti 2 valandas per savaitę, tai automatiškai būsite pridėti prie realios formos. Aš to kažkaip nepabrėžiu iki šiol, tai daug žmonių buvo pradėta 2 valandas, 4 valandas gali skirti per savaitę, bet to mes tiesiog neturim tokio formato. Aš seniau bandžiau jį padaryti, norėjau turėti greitesnės klases, lėtesnės klases, bet tai tiesiog per mažai yra tokių žmonių ir per galvoju. Taip. Tu kalbėti workshopus, nes yra dabar 14 žmonių buvo būtent. Tai būtent yra tas, kaip sakiau, mokamas dalykas, kurį turėtume daryti po, na, ne po workshopų, bet bent jau po workshopų D klasės. D ir C klasės, kuris labai geriausiai B klasės vidury pereiti idealių sąjungų, B klasės vidury pereiti į campą. Galite, aišku, po B klasės, po A klasės ir iš S klasės eiti į campą. O niekas greičiausiai įsiregistruoja, aš žiūriu ten, kur daug klausimų, aš pagal visų klausimų ten sudėliojimą, atskiriam kas tinka, tada tuos surendam kažkur ir tada iškėlėm.
Tai yra ir teisingų atsakymų dalis, bet yra ir lemiamas dalis.
O tai testas užsako, ar reikia tą levelį, arba jis gali pasiūlyti savo pagal
Tu jau pats turi pasirinkti, koks tu nori būti. Turiuomenį labai paprasta pasirinkti. Jeigu nori Python gerai, tada tu pretenduoji į VFA. Jeigu tu nori ne tik Python, bet ir machine learning gerai, tada iškart į A. Jeigu tu nori ir deep learning labai gerai, iškart į A. Jeigu tu nieko nemoki, arba tenai nemoki kažko profesionaliai, tai tam yra VFA. Oi, taip.
Are you very comfortable with your, using machine learning for artwork? For the artwork? Design?
I am using, if you have seen, I have like all of my visuals are deep learning. Photos. Yeah, so like neural file transfer. So, but that, I don't know actually anybody locally doing startups or products with that. But that's a actually very interesting area. I know, like, I heard that people are doing music with neural file transfer. That's mostly curious. Music or neural file transfer.
Yeah, I just, I was like collaborating with projects. So when I did myself, I was using Photoshop like style transfer, and another one was React. And I was working collaborating with Rachel Silver Valley, and the tool is actually you can use only for artists.
Okay.
And I was like interested if I want to finally like do someone who then one for then you have to go through if I'm just like someone then I want to do one more.
Okay, so hard for me to tell. Actually, to be honest, like perfectly honest, my orientation is to make you job ready. For you to be job ready. No, I totally get it, but I mean, it's very hard to find it like exactly the same company. You know, if I do, like, I kind of have to like narrow my target. So my target is to be job ready. I don't know how much does that, I do job ready, as in machine learning engineer job ready. I don't know how much that aligns with your goals. I plan, to be honest, on the bootcamp, I plan to have like at least neural file transfer and music generation deep learning. But as well.
Maybe it's possible that you just like show
Oh, and
like that's what you're
absolutely,
doing.
absolutely. Yeah, sure, it is. It is very interesting. Can you like connect on Facebook or Slack? Okay, great. Thanks for calling.
Operatorius labiau negu intelektas.
Ką reiškia operatorius?
Tai operatorius, tai tam tikrą darbą daro. Bet lyginant su žmonėmis. Kokio lygio tai intelekto yra kiek, kad dirbtinis intelektas daromas.
Nedaug. Dabartinės sistemos, jos deep learning didžiausia kritika yra, kad jie neturi reasoning. Žmonės dar turi reasoning, dabartinės sistemos to reasoning nelabai turi. Kartais jos teikina tą reasoning ir joms jo net nereikia. Pavyzdžiui, tai yra aplinka apibrėžta, pavyzdžiui, kad ir pats sudėtingiausias, pavyzdžiui, Dota yra tikrai labai sudėtinga. Ten turi kombinuoti 5 žaidėjų strategiją, kad nugalėtum kitus 5 žmonės, kurie gali vėlgi bet ką daryti.
Faktiškai sudėtingesnis šakinis.
Bet orders of magnitude sudėtingas. Tai, kad jie sugebėjo šitą dalyką išspręsti, jau artėjant prie to realaus, turėminį dar oro žingsnį tokio padydžio ir bus realus pasaulis, irgi galėtume sakyti, beveik tas pats, kas dar sudėtingesnis šakinis. Tai dar oro žingsnis, kur tos sistemos pakankamai galingos, kad jos galėtų atiduoti visam pasauliui. produktas kažkoks. Yra žmonių, kurie dirba specialiai, ten nori sujungti tą logical reasoning, su deep learning.
Tai kodėl pradedant nuo tos programavimo, o ne nuo operavimo jau tų padarytų kūnų, kur tos galvas galima dėlioti, kaip jie sujunginės, pavyzdžiui, kad kažką tai gauti.
Jo, tai reikia tiesiog paskui kažką panaudoti. Gali sudėlioti, bet čia neskaitant kažkokio tai universitetinio projekto, niekam naudoti nebus. Mes pradedam nuo to, kad tu galėtum pabaigti kursą ir eiti gauti darbą. Mano yra toks tikslas, tada tu įrodai, taip, tu esi naudingas kitom.
Bet tai darbo vieta, tarkim, bet
nuo visų ruošiai darbo vietos, tai darbo gali,
ar į programuotojo vietą, ar į to jau
ne, nei programuotojas, nei po jokios klasės negalėjai dirbti niekur, išskyrus po S klasės. Po S klasėje tu turi būti pasiruošęs dirbti nuo machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, inžinierių.
Bet pagrindė tai vis tiek jaunas operatorius labiau, dirbtinis operatorius, kuris atlieka savo darbą, kurio tu nenori.
Ką tu darai praktinė darbo diena? Tu dirbi kartu su, tarkim, backendo žmonėm, frontendo žmonėm, tiesiog integruoji kažkokias didesnės sistemas į produktą. Tai to reinforcement learning dažniausiai kaip tik ten ir nėra. Tai yra daugiausiai supervised learning. Išmokai ten, pavyzdžiui, kad useriai parašė komentarą. Komentaras teigiamas ar neigiamas. Jeigu neigiamas, reikia greit reaguoti, greit suportui susityti. Ir tada kokiam suportui susityti. Turi iš to teksto atspėti, ar teigiamas ar neigiamas, ir tada jeigu neigiamas, kurios kategorijos su neigiamu. Ir tada siunti tam tinginį sportą, o davai greitai pasiekti dalykai. Arba useris įkėlė nuotrauką, nori pažiūrėti, kas toje nuotraukoje. Pavyzdžiui, aš dirbu su mados industrija ir man reikia sužinoti, koks drabužis yra idealiausias, kokia spalva, koks elementas, koks stiklas ir taip. Tai kokiam darbui. Mes neruošiam tam darbui, kur tenai kažkokius robotus valdyti. Sakiau?
Tai gerai, ačiū.
Prašau. Ką tu reikia padaryti, jeigu jūs registruoji vieną kartą, bet tu praeitą registruoji. Tai praeitoji registruoji, jeigu nepakliuvai praeitoji sesijai, tai atgal. Reikia registruoti. Tai dabar bus vėl įdėtas metai, vėl visą reikės procesų praeitą. Jo, ne, tau bus dabar visiems, kas kiekvien, visi slekia pamatysis, vėl naujus žmonės, reikia registruoti. Ir tada vėl ten kažkam tas, kiek turėsim vietos vėl. Nu, tiesiog, dabar man atrodo, kad pusė žmonių. Ir žiūrėsim, kaip bus. Bet aš negaliu pažiūrėti.
Jūsų Facebook puslapis?
Taip, Facebook puslapis bus slekas. Tada užsiregistruoti sleką, slekė bus jau absoliučiai visai. Ir jeigu nėra info ir kažkas neaišku, tai rašykite ten visur, kažkas tikrai padės.
Informacija apie D klasę, kur galima gauti.
Tai irgi bus Facebook'e registracijai slekas, tada slekas bus patvirtintas.
Kolegos, kad D klasės išvis nieko bendro su programavimu patenčiamas.
Tai taip.
D klasė, jo, tokia patys žemiausia.
Taip, tai čia jį tam ir tiems, kas...
Nuo nulio galima.
Taip, bet reikia skirti. Kai kas turi patirties kažkokios, ir tada jiems užtenka šiek tiek mažiau valandų skirti. Pavyzdžiui, 8 valandas skirti ten universitetį mokslą. Bet jeigu nieko, ten dirbai projektų vadovas, tokio dalykai, tada 10 valandų.
Bet čia viskas yra remote, tai pasirinkti ar šeštadienį ateini, ar neteini. Taip, teisingai.
Taip, mokysi iš online, šeštadienį pasirinkti ten, ar regular reiškia šeštadienį ateini ir turi labai aiškiai discipliną. Remote disciplinos nėra, mano pritaikymas disciplinos nėra, pats pasirinkti, kiek laiko skiri per savaitę, gali ten vieną savaitę 40 valandų skirti, tada 2 mėnesius atostogauti. Apsirinkti. Jeigu tau taip darbas suvoja, tu pakeisti kažkokiais čia naujiausia. Jeigu tu nori papildomą dar tokio prilaikymo, tada regular mokyti.
Bet tas projektas yra kaip individualus ar visoms projektas?
Koks projektas?
Nu,
Projektas bus nuo vieno iki 3 žmonių, bet čia papildomai. Jau kai bus žmonės, gali daryti su vieno, su dvies.
Pažiūrėk, jeigu nėra tikslas ten pereiti tas aukštesnės klasės ir gal darbas, tiesiog tikslas, aš iš verslo pusės esu, noriu tiesiog suvokti. Tai ta D klasė, man realiai naudingas, bet aš prasidėjau.
Ką tu nori suvokti?
Nu, kaip vat aš galiu tą visą panaudoti, ką aš galiu sukurti. Nes, nu, čia dabar, kaip Vaizdas sakė, dabar daug labai spekuliuojama šitais terminais ir norisi biškai giliau tą suvokimą.
Jo, čia vėlgi mes ne visiškai tai taikom, bet yra žmonių, kur taip, tu labai panašiai su idėjom, ten yra koks nori išmokti ir tada, pats nori dirbti, bet nori ten, tarkim, vadovauti startupui.
Ar supras.
Taip, bet kai tu pats viską supranti, tau pačiam kodint nereikia, bet joks negali. Žmonės nežinai, kaip daryti, o tai daryti. O ten techninės dalykas pats iškėlė. Bet aš žinau, kokį modelį, kokie tokie modeliai reikia, kokiam problemam spręsti taikyti. Arba šitą problemą išvis neišsprendžiama, čia net nereikia, kai išlaikoma niekas. Google jo. Tai to labiau. Tai tokiam suvokimui, kaip ir atrodytų, reiktų realiai tada praeiti visas tas. Nu, tai yra išmokti galbūt giliau dalykų, negu kad galėtum, bet čia visiškai geras. Tiesiog mažiau galbūt išsiaiškinau tos pačios praktikos, galbūt mažiau galėtų laikyti.
Realiai, kai baigai šitos kursus, tai pagrindinis,
Taip, tai pagrindinės taikomai mašinos, dabar taip pat mes Lietuvoje daryti skirtinį mašinų. Data science dažniausiai reiškia labiau data analytics. Usually. O jeigu tai scientist, tai kaip ir dažniausiai tai yra to, bent jau pas mus skirtis. Tu labiau darai analizę ir žiūri duomenis, kaip ir pritaikai kartais tos modelius, tai pagrindinė gauna pataikyti. Jeigu tu esi tas machine learning engineer, tai kaip ir tas panašiai, bet labiau prie programavimo. Daugiau modelių, daugiau mokslas, deep learning modelių, training, daugiau kodų.
O kaip Python reikia